This time on Graveyard Carz, Mark goes over the top 4 cars we have to get done. We're installing the front and rear suspension in our 1971 446-pack 4-speed Track Pak Challenger RT.
It looks good. I hate your guts.
And we're out of room, so Mark needs to get on the ball and find us a new location.
If everything works out good, we might.
Darren and Roy will team up to disassemble and restore the convertible top mechanism on Kimberly Cook's 1970 Barracuda. On this episode of Graveyard Carz.
Got that car coming to get you, Barbara.
The unburied dead are coming back to life.
I'm Mark Warman, and together with the most critical man in the world, Darren Kirkpatrick.
Give me a gun!
My son-in-law, Josh.
Oh, yeah!
And my best friend, Roy.
Well, all right!
We bring dead muscle cars back to life, to exactly the way they were on the day they were born. If we don't kill each other.
Here.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Here's the things that we got to do this week. 3 cars that have already been painted. We need to make sure nothing has happened to them since they've been painted so that we can finish putting them together and assembling them. Currently at Graveyard Carz, we have 4 vehicles that need an updated QC check. Kimberly Cook's 1970 Plymouth Barracuda convertible, 383 2-barrel automatic. Mark and Elena's 1970 Plymouth Cuda, 383 automatic FE5 Rally Red. Mike Hill's 1970 Plymouth Superbird in Alpine White. And Jim and Mitzi's 1972 Dodge Charger FY1 Top Banana Yellow 318 Rally car. I want the QC check to be a group event, so there's a couple of tasks I need to get out of the way first. Royal and Darren are going to go out back and get the convertible top assembly for the 1970 Barracuda, get it disassembled, get it clean, get it ready for paint, so we can start assembling that portion of the car. I need to have Derek get the engine compartment ready on the 1970 Plymouth Superbird so I can sign off on it so that he can get it painted white. And Josh and I need to go over the 70 Hemi Charger to show him how to order parts the correct way from Auto Metal Direct. Before we do any of these things, though, we need to get Chris Driscoll's 1971 Dodge Challenger RT 446-pack 4-speed over to the bin pack, up in the air, and reunite it with the front and rear suspension. That means that we should be able to just move the car forward again, play a grown-up version of Tetris. Move, get the car over here, get the Aladdin out of the way, get the Barracuda out, get the...
Tetris, I've got Cardinal Tetris. And neon
Tetris, it was a video game. Did you never play that?
I got Tetris in my aquarium. Make yourself specific.
Tetris,
We're talking about
not
fish.
Tetris.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
And so with all of that, does anybody have a question? Do you have any problems with
Yes,
it?
I
Other
do.
than being too tall and a freak?
I get called into the auditorium.
Your face. Is there a problem besides that? No, you're not.
I got called into the auditorium.
God.
I'll be back.
When? Next week?
Take me an hour.
You know, Royal says he has 3 or 4 jobs. I think he might have maybe 2. And it's just convenient. Whenever the hard work starts, Royal has to go to one of his other jobs.
You got a lot of
I'm just going to start cleaning the forest. Goes the big tree. Goes the big... Oh, you hit it.
I didn't touch you.
Can you act like a human being instead of a screaming animal? If the guys just focused a little bit and didn't get so crazy on stuff, we'd be a much calmer, much more peaceful work environment. They need to follow my cue. They need to borrow a branch off of my tree.
I could have run right over your heels. I stopped.
Be careful, boy. I'm going to knock you out. Don't puff up against me.
No, when I hit you, it's going to be one time. I think it'll be all these.
I think today Darren and I can gang beat Mark down verbally.
What they're doing is they're trying to come at me and beat me down, put me down, hold me down, and out-snap me, but you can't out-snap me. I'm gonna punch a hole in your neck, insert a 5/8 garden hose, throw you at the bottom of a swimming pool, and piss in it as you try to grasp air. We're having a battle of wits and they're unarmed. You know what I'm saying?
You are.
You got me. Actually, this could have stayed back in the pool. I guess, get out of my way. You're making me crazy.
You can have Josh and myself and Royal out there working all together. Everything goes along pretty peaceful. You add Mark to the equation, and it's just total chaos.
I try so hard to get along with people.
No, you don't.
What'd you say?
That's the last time you punched me last weekend. That's getting along with people?
Do you see me fighting with you? Do I fight with you, camera boy? No. I'm the voice of reason and peace.
Ridiculous.
It's those idiots you can't get along with.
You can't abuse your employees. You can't use
Now
your
listen, if
employees.
you don't have anything funny or clever, you should cuss. I hate your guts.
I hate you too.
No, I actually don't like you.
I don't give a shit. Look who it's coming from. Mark Gregory Warman. Am I supposed to be offended?
Where are we going, buddy?
Chris Driscoll has gone from an old acquaintance that I had sold a car to back in the mid-'80s to a friend, or what I would consider to be part of the Graveyard Carz family. He had brought us his AAR Cuda here a couple of years back, and it was pretty distraught. It was an original lemon twist yellow 340 6-barrel 4-speed car. Asked us if we could do the body and the paint and the suspension on it. He wanted to do his own motor, his own transmission, and finish out the car his own way. So we did restore the car other than engine and transmission and delivered it back up to him. He had handed me off another car, the 71 Challenger 440 6-pack 4-speed dark gold poly, or Tawny Gold in the Plymouth lineup. Asked me to do the same thing on it that we had done on the AAR Cuda, which is the body, the paint, the headliner, the things that make it paint sealed ready, and the front and rear suspension. A moron, an idiot, and a sociopath walk into a bar. Bartender says, "Hey Darren, what can I get you?" Now that's a joke.
Darren is in a super hyper happy, positive mood.
Now he's got the whole.
I'm not going to play your game anymore.
We just got the Challenger moved around to the bin pack, so we're going to raise it up, get ready to reunite it with the front and the rear suspension. The nice thing about that car is we're done at that point, so that's going to loosen up a little bit of free space here in the shop that we desperately need. I know you find this difficult to believe, but I'm hungry.
No? It looks like you've been eating plenty.
Once our panels were all prepped and ready to go, first we hit them with our sealer. And over the sealer, we put the Alpine White in the Concept from PPG. It's a single stage, has excellent coverage and super gloss. So the Concept's mix 4-2-1, which is 4 parts paint, 2 parts reducer to 1 part catalyst. It has to be correct for the product to actually dry and spray properly. From there, it's ready to go in the gun. Well, first off, you go over it with a wax and grease remover, and that will wet the surface, and generally, if you look close, you can see any problems that you have. Once you get to that point, we go over it with the air and a tack cloth, which is a sticky cloth, which should pick up any and all of your small dirt, dust particles, because they lay under the paint and create little mountains. So your surface has to be clean of any contaminants, wax, grease, dirt, fingerprints. As you're spraying, you gotta pay attention to your gun speed, your distance, and you're matching all that with the way the paint is flowing out. Because too far away, you're gonna have a real peely surface, which is just like a surface of an orange. If you're getting that, you're going too fast, possibly too quick a reducer. So you have to slow down, and you want the paint to lay out nice and smooth. But yeah, it's really important to me that the car leaves in just immaculate condition. It's right, because it's got my name all over it, as well as everyone else here at Graveyard Carz.
Mark needs to get us a bigger shop. Bunch of rats in a small cage.
Let's go.
I'm just talking to him. What are you doing?
Gonna be cruising, man. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Derek did a great job jamming the hood, deck lid, and doors for the 70 Superbird. We've had a hell of a time getting the 71 Challenger moved around in the shop and on the bin pack, but it's there now, so we can raise it up, install the front and rear suspension, and ship that thing out. Okay, so we got to get the rear end down here. We're decided we're gonna put the rear end in first, right? So that means, God, again, it's like a great big grown-up version of Tetris. You're gonna have to have enough room to come through there with that axle, so it's got to keep coming this way. Well, that's why I raised it up, so you can come through here, hopefully, and then backwards.
Yeah, we can go this way.
All right, hang on. God, we just got no freaking room.
This whole running out of room thing is Mark's fault, because he's got all these cars apart, but he never puts any of them together. If you just put a few of them together, we'd have more room to take other ones apart. We wouldn't have the total chaos and be out of room like we are now.
As soon as those lower holes line up on both sides, I'll roll it forward. Please don't move, Josh.
Yeah,
Can I have a nut, please?
we're gonna have to, Mark, because my end is completely screwed up here.
Okay.
We're not gonna be able to get it down. If you can just tilt it down a little bit.
I'll lift the weight off of this if you can reposition that. Put it anywhere you can, sir.
Okay, it's right on the floor pan.
There's a torque. It's not on the floor pan, it's on the torque box. So it's fine.
Yeah, my side needs to go your way a little, Mark, because of this crate here.
We'd be done 10 minutes ago. It's one of the most frustrating things. Our biggest problem is we outgrow our shop, okay? We don't have the room for the cars that we've got here. We've got 30 cars waiting to go through. That's not an exaggeration. And everything that we seem to be doing around here just seems to compound itself with some little thing that you didn't seem to think was a problem in the beginning, but it becomes a problem. So our grade, for example, the drain in the floor, which you don't need because it's 5 feet from the damn door, you just squeegee your water out there. Why it's there, I have no idea. But all it does is traps the wheel. Now it's holding it like a cradle. So it makes it impossible just to move it an inch because it weighs 1,000 pounds. You know, I've loved this building since I was a kid. When I was 14 years old, I worked here. Back then it was the Wonder Bread Hostess Cake thrift store. So they had the bread trucks that were out in the shop where we work now. And in the front where all the offices are, that used to be the outlet store. And when I first got hired, my job was to wash the trucks on Thursdays, play Twinkie the Kid on Wednesdays. I actually stood right out front on Main Street in a Twinkie the Kid outfit. I love the building. I'm glad that I bought it, but we've outgrown it. If Graveyard Carz is gonna continue its plight to restore as many Chrysler muscle cars as humanly possible, we're gonna have the room to do it.
It's going really good right now. We're trying to get the leaf springs attached to the car. Everything's actually going really well.
It's going pretty good right now. Mark's not jumping on people and calling people too many names or threatening anyone right now, so it's good.
Yep. Ready, let's go. Ready.
And stay there, yes.
For the bolts.
Okay.
How we doing?
I think this rear one over here will line up.
Okay.
Oh, that works nice, huh?
Maybe.
Chris and I, as you may know, have been friends for many years. We met years ago when I sold him a Plymouth GTX, and we did his yellow AAR CUDA. The 71 Tawny Gold 446 pack car, that's one that, again, like his AAR, he requested me to do just certain things because he wanted to get his hands dirty. He wanted to have his signature on the car in some areas. So we're doing the front and the rear suspension, putting the dash back in it. We did all the body and paint. We made it right. Because when the car came to us, it was a mess. Yeah, it looked pretty. It was a Hemi Orange or a version of Hemi Orange. It had a big 572 cubic inch Hemi engine in it. And Chris is like me, he's a purist. So even though he paid all the royalties to have that stuff on it, he turned right around and paid me to make it right.
Would it be better if I was in clear inside? Probably.
Darren's a mystery to me. Okay, he complains that he's got all these problems, he's had all these surgeries, that he's paralyzed and he's disabled and all this stuff, but you see him as like Usain Bolt out there. He's running around the shop, he's doing martial arts, jumping in and out of engine compartments that I couldn't get into.
I could get in here without getting killed or something. Not much work was getting done. Everyone had an excuse of why nothing was happening. So I just basically took the bull by the horns, you know, sort of slid underneath the car, went up to the engine compartment like this so I could work on the upper control arms. I'm pretty crazy today. You know what? Neither one of you guys could have fit though Josh could have. You know, basically I sacrificed my body for the good of the GYC team. As usual, I took one for the team.
Oh, Derek, did you need that nut for that cam bolt, buddy?
Watch your head.
Oh, I will here in a few.
That was made just for you.
Hey, Josh.
Yes, buddy.
You are.
I love you, Darren. You're doing a fine job, my
Come
friend.
in, buddy.
I like working with Darren for the most part because he is an attribute to Graveyard Carz. He does help me when it comes to QC in the cars. He's really good at finding parts that are missing. For the most part, I consider him a friend, and I think we work well together.
I'm gonna put on the top nut is what you want, buddy. First. You know, Mark looks at our GYC relationship as being real good friends. I look at it as an opportunity for a business and be a professional. Actually, he just needs me to correct his mistakes and make sure he doesn't make any more mistakes.
True or false? The Street Hemi was not available in non-RT Chargers in 1968. The answer coming up after the break. So, was the Street Hemi not available on non-RT Chargers in 1968? The answer is true.
So between the 68 Charger and the 68 Charger RT, the 426 Hemi was only available for the Charger RT. Even then, you're gonna pay an extra 600 bucks.
Visit graveyardcars.com to learn more.
Royal has taken off for his existential fourth job. And we've been playing grown-up version of Tetris with all these Mopars trying to get room to work on another car. Chris Driscoll's 71 Challenger RT, it's gotta go away. We have to finish that car.
In the case of Chris Driscoll's 1971 Challenger 446 pack, it looked like a good car. I mean, if you looked at it before we got started, it was a pretty orange, had a half vinyl top on it, had a big snarling 572 cubic inch Hemi that was putting out 800 horsepower. People looked at it and thought, man, you paid a lot for the car, but the car is beautiful. Little did they know he was going to immediately send it down here, have us dissect it, and turn it back into what it should be, which is an original 446 pack, 4-speed Dana 354 in original dark gold poly.
Oh, hey, speak of the devil. You sent yourself a text?
Look at that.
Wow, that's come a long ways. Mark is always griping at us to be more organized and not to waste so much time. We're out there trying to work on the 71 Challenger RT, so Mark's trying to show us pictures of the 70 AAR Cuda that Chris Driscoll sent to him.
Gonna be cruising, man. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
There's a front shot.
God, I want it.
Chris is a car nut just like myself. I knew when I brought the car back to him that he would finish the path that we had started with the quality and the accuracy of OEM, and that's what he did. He sent me some pictures. The AAR looks stunningly beautiful. The things that he did are very, very, very nice, and I think that they go right along with it, hand in quality. So now we're done with the 71 Challenger dark gold poly for Chris Driscoll, and he can come down, pick it up. I told him he could use my rollback if he needed to. The Jerdan's perfect for moving that kind of stuff around. I expect that he will continue on doing a great job like he did on the AAR. He probably won't do perfection like we master perfection on everything that we do, so the body paint and the suspension are as good as humanly possible. Unless by chance somebody happens to come down like the heavenly choir of angels on a cloud and they decide to get into the Mopar restoration business, you know. I doubt it. It looks good.
I'm back.
After you left, Mark says me and you need to get the parts rounded up for the Barracuda convertible top as soon as you get back.
Where's it at?
I have no idea.
In the pod?
You don't know?
Should be in the pod, right?
Okay. Which pod is that pod? You know, Mark told me to wait for Royal. I don't know where he was or what he was doing. He's got more excuses than Carter has pills. He said to wait for Royal and to go out and find Cook's Barracuda convertible top.
Not between this job, my
You can't take a pair of those little cutters and just cut it?
Well, I'd like to.
Convertible top? It's not here, buddy. It'd be big.
Oh, not again. So where do we look?
Where's my gloves?
Oh, there you go. So which ones are the convertibles?
You start looking, I guess, huh?
Okay, so what you want to do is start at either the front of the car or the back of the car.
Okay.
Now, I usually, if I'm writing an estimate on a collision job, I start at the end of the car that has the most damage and then we'll work my way to the other end. I'm working with Josh on the correct way to order parts for these cars. Auto Metal Direct, you know, they supply us with our sheet metal. Their catalog is written in a way that when you start with a particular chapter, such as B-bodies, it starts at the front of the car and works its way to the back of the car. So I just want Josh to know how important that is. We're gonna start with writing down what it is. It's a 1970 Charger.
Hell froze over, and Mark wants to actually take me out and teach me something.
The Charger we're ordering the parts for is the 1970 426 Hemi 4-speed Super Track Pak FK5 burnt orange over black interior. The gentleman who owned it has passed away and given it to his son. He had it in the family his whole life. I'm glad to be a part of restoring that car and helping them to relive some of the memories and hopefully create a whole bunch of new ones.
The parts of the car, I know what they are, but I just don't know the names.
In case these notes get lost, it's a 426 Hemi, which is what code for the engine?
L.
Nice try, it's an R. L's a 383 two-barrel.
He showed me a lot of new things that I had no idea. The names of the panels, all sorts of stuff.
You're looking through this catalog at things that may or may not need to be replaced, but you need to know whether or not they make it available, number one. And then if they do make it available, go check it on that car and make sure that yours can come off and be dissected and go back on again without being destroyed. We just need to know it's a 70 and it's a Charger, okay? Starting at the very back, starting at the very lowest point, what would you call this part right here?
The rear valance?
Yeah, it's very good. Notice that this has the backup lights built right into the rear valance.
Okay.
Okay, that one's rotted away. This one, there's still a remnant of it. Okay, so let's rotate this up. I want to go over a couple of things here real quick. These are so easy to use. I just want to... Okay, come around here. So this is that rear valance we were talking about, right? And this is that corner.
Okay.
You can see that half of that corner is eaten away.
Right.
Josh is doing a good job of at least listening to me. When you have his 100% attention, I believe he can be taught just like anybody else. So we know we need the left-hand one. Let's replace the right-hand one. We'll check it here in a minute to make sure. And I think he's making a genuine effort to learn this stuff and to learn it right. That's Darren's forte. Finding something wrong with something, that's what he does.
I'm good at this.
Josh, you better run and be somewhere else.
Maybe it's Mark's love grotto.
With the assembly of these cars, there's so many pieces. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of minute parts. Those are the ones that kill you. You're out back pulling cars apart all over the place. You're spending dozens of hours doing it. So when Mr. Moparts volunteered to set us up with their basic catalog, it was a no-brainer.
I am Mike Chenfant.
And I'm Mark Chenfant.
And we collectively run MrMoparts.net. And a couple months ago, Mark decided to give us a call in regards to our parts that we sell. Mark had a specific need for clips and fasteners to do his restorations.
Prior to Mr. Moparts, this is how we found our parts.
We're basically running about anywhere from 10 to 12,000 different fasteners for the Chrysler, GM, and Ford also.
I mean, just in the short period of time that it's been here, it's saved us hours and hours. Our purple sunroof Challenger, the deadline was coming down on that car, and I could walk into that room, look through the book, and just say, oh, there's the ones that hold the dash in. Oh, there's the bolts that hold the seats on. We would not have been able to finish our sunroof Challenger 440 automatic one-of-one car done on time if it hadn't been for Mr. Moparts, like with Tony's Parts and the other guys out there that we've done at AMD and Legendary. These are companies that are helping us get our job done and look good doing it.
So far, D-Rock has got us off to a great start by jamming all the parts on the 70 Alpine White Superbird. And thanks to my leadership skills, Chris Driscoll's 1971 Challenger RT 440 6-pack 4-speed has its front and rear suspension in it and is ready to roll back home. Next, Darren and Royal got to disassemble and clean the convertible top mechanism for Kimberly Cook's 1970 Barracuda. But first, they got to find it.
Hey, Darren. I think I found Josh's napping place.
Did you really?
Or maybe it's Mark's love grotto.
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's creepy. Shut it. I don't want to. In our search for the convertible top, we found more and more of Mark's hidden secrets, but we still haven't found the convertible top.
Oh, that's the green Charger. I wish they would utilize the pods and put everything in there from the cars, not just half the pieces. They keep them dry, they keep them organized. You can go out and find what you need on the shelf.
Here's a top, but I don't think that's it. We looked high and low, we looked in the pods, we looked up in the air, we looked down in the earth. Heaven only knows where Josh put it or hid it from us.
This is the trunk floor. It goes right to left, all the way over to this seam right here.
Okay.
At that seam right there, that becomes the trunk floor extension, okay? That entire trunk floor, AMD makes as a one-piece unit. They also make a two-piece unit. A one-piece trunk floor, when you can do it, is the right way to go. To get those pieces in the car, you have to have panels out of the way. There's no way that a panel this big is gonna fit into a compartment opening, a trunk compartment opening that big. So if you're doing quarter panels on the car or the rear body panel on the car, then you can do a one piece. Now, if the Charger had had original quarters, original rear body panel, and I didn't want to cut all those off just so I could put a one-piece trunk floor in it, we'd have put the two-piece in there, but we would have butt welded it together, metal finished it off, and then done whatever necessarily filler work over the top of it so you could not detect that it was a two-piece floor. So we're gonna put a one-piece trunk floor in it, okay? Knowing that, this is gonna have to come off out of the way, this rear body panel.
You know, Mark is a very informative person, and when he's in the mood to teach somebody, he gives it 100%.
You're gonna find that from 1969 to 1970, this taillight panel is the same on both of those years of Charger.
Okay.
68 is different. Do you know why?
Yeah, the taillights were different.
Correct. They use the round bullet taillights on each side. This is the spare tire hold down bracket. It is in very nice shape. Most likely we will cut it, dissect it, and reuse it. But I would like to have a new one here for the same reason as, why?
Because you don't know if you're gonna need it or not. It could lose its integrity.
You could cut it to pieces trying to get it off of there, and by the time you're done, you got nothing left but a little piece of scrap metal. So why don't you go ahead and take over and write down spare tire hold down. Don't do that funny writing where you're trying to do it in all cursive and pretty. Nobody cares.
I've gotten everything written down that I need to order, and now I'm gonna go up front, grab an AMD book, then I'm gonna make my phone call and get everything ordered.
Royal and myself went out back looking for the convertible top for Cook's Barracuda to no avail. We don't know where Josh put it. Where
You
was
want to
that?
go ask Mark? Because I don't.
Yeah, I will. I'm not afraid of him.
I'm gonna let Darren go up and ask Mark where the top is because I don't want to deal with his rhetoric for being gone. Okay, I just don't want to take the verbal abuse.
I think I finally figured it out. Royal is scared of Mark. I think it goes back to the days where they lived together in the apartment. I think there's some pretty freaky stuff that went on back then between Mark and Royal. I think Royal's still suffering some of the side effects of it.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hey, Mark.
Wait,
Trying to get hold of the weight loss clinic.
hang on a second.
Chrome Dome can't find the convertible top for Cook's Barracuda.
So what you're telling me is the car came in with one on it, but now it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 30 minutes. Just call me in half an hour if you don't mind. If I go out there and it's out there, I'm
It's
gonna
not.
kick your
You should've
face
put it in the
inside
pod.
out. So you guys have looked everywhere.
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 It probably got stuck in one of these cars.
We looked.
So Alice and Mary came up and told me they can't find the convertible top for the 70 Barracuda. I'm out here to look for it. I can't imagine that it would grow legs. You looked in every car here.
We looked in every car here.
Why do I find that difficult to believe?
I've looked in those cars.
We looked on eBay, so even though he sold the convertible top lately, it wasn't there. You know?
Well,
Saw a
if
lot
he
of my
just-
parts that were sold in the past on eBay. They weren't by me.
Hey, we've been in all those.
Mark, we looked in every one of them.
We've been through every pod.
I don't know why you didn't just put it in the building or the pod in the first place when you took it out of the car.
I had Josh put all the parts in the pod.
That explains it.
So right now, I'm going through all the AMD parts in the catalog. I need to get everything ordered for the 1970 Hemi Charger.
What's all that crap?
Where? I have no idea. I've never been back there before.
Why would you put stuff back there?
I don't think anybody could fit between the fence and the building. I know you couldn't.
I'll bet it's right behind their bin. Because in his mind, put it in the bin or around the bin mean the same thing. You know the
That's
stupid son of a
fucking-
that's gonna cost him.
We're going to take the convertible top mechanism all apart and restore it.
Cowl panel, inner cowl panel, firewall, everything.
I've been working with Josh on the correct way to order parts from Autometal Direct. Meanwhile, Royal and Darren have been out back looking for the convertible top mechanism for Kimberly Cook's 70 Barracuda. Now that I've joined forces with them, I hope we'll figure out where it is Josh put it.
I'll bet it's right behind their bin. Because in his mind, put it in the bin or around the bin mean the same thing. We've been looking for the convertible top mechanism for Kimberly's Barracuda way too long. I have a suspicion I know where it's at. If this insanity has persisted and my hunch is right, Josh had better run and be somewhere else. I mean, it's a convertible top. Why is it doing that? See, in his mind, since we're gonna recondition it, it doesn't matter. He never heard the term preserve the integrity, preserve the integrity. When you're in the collision business, you have a responsibility.
Is it back there?
Son of a...
Is it back there?
Yeah, it's back there.
Well, bring it out. Why does it take two of you to get it out of there when Josh put it back there by himself?
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, just start going through the AMD catalog and get everything written down that I need ordered, and then I'll double check it. I'll even have Mark check it and make sure it's everything. Then I'll go ahead and place my order. How can you not be excited? I mean, here I am dissecting a 1970 Hemi Charger. We pull the motor out. Now the motor's rebuilt completely. It's actually ready to assemble in the car. And you know, the guys at AMD, they're phenomenal. They're gonna get us the parts that we need. We're gonna start getting this car tackled and taken care of. And next thing you know, this car's gonna be out on the road. I think that's about it. I really hope that Mark is satisfied with this.
I told Josh, put all the parts to Kimberly Cook's car in the pod. Not only is it not in that pod or any of the other 13 pods that are out here, it's behind the Cook's pod. The people that trust me with their cars and trust me with the care, custody, and control of that car. Yeah, we can fix everything that's there. Of course we can. Really, it's just wet and muddy. It didn't get hurt. It's the point. It's a respect thing.
I've done all my work for today. You're welcome for letting me find it for you.
SS. This all comes apart, huh?
Now that Captain Overreaction has went off to kill Josh, we can finally get some work done on the convertible top.
Mark really overreacted to where this was. I just needed to find it.
We're going to take the convertible top mechanism all apart and restore it. Take off the cloth and take it all apart, blast it, paint it, restore it, and hopefully we'll get it back together right. But I am working with Royal. Did you bring your razor blade like I asked?
I always carry one, Darren.
Thank you.
Don't cut yourself.
Is that the best blade you got?
Yeah, I don't think the dirt hurts it all that much because we're gonna take it apart and restore it anyway. We're gonna clean everything, paint it.
You like escargot, buddy? Here you go.
Crazy man.
Why don't you get in here and help a little bit? What are you doing?
There you go. You can do it! I don't know how easy it'll be to get back together. I mean, it came apart kind of slow. It'll probably go back together a little slower, but we can do it.
We're gonna glass bead it, clean it all up, and then we'll paint it. And then we'll get all the new moldings and gaskets, et cetera, whatever it needs, and put it back together. Have a new top put on it. It worked great. How did it go? It went very good today. Royal's a good guy to work with, totally opposite to Mark and Josh both.
A little while ago, Derek came and got me. I needed to sign off on the jamming of the deck lid, the doors, and the hood, so I did that. He went ahead and painted those. They came out really nice. We've got them out here now. Now the car is in the booth. I go in there and make sure that all the holes that are supposed to be there are there. All the ones that aren't supposed to be there aren't there.
We got our squirter bottles and voltage regulator, all our normals.
He doesn't know every hole that's supposed to be there. And back in the 70s when these cars were driven, people add a hole for a tack wire. They add one for an oil pressure wire. And so now's the time to fix it so that you're not going back and spotting in the paint. Actually, what you should do is get a good bolt, go into the Mr. Moparts room and get the correct bolt and put it in there. And go ahead and put bolts in here to keep these threads clean, but they actually get painted with the battery tray. You could even put the battery tray in it if you had it, but it's so much easier to get paint everywhere right now. But at least the fasteners, if you put those in, I would think you'd be doing it pretty darn right.
And they're pre-painted and we're good to go.
Yeah. You got my blessing, buddy.
Right on.
See ya.
Chrome dome. Chromium dioxide. What's up, Q-Ball?
So you know the convertible top for the Kimberly's coupe?
Hey, where is he?
Who?
Josh.
What do you want Josh for?
Because that little prick's got one coming.
Josh didn't leave it out there. Derek said he did.
That's okay. That's no big deal.
Now, wait, a minute ago you were ready to hang Josh. I don't know why Mark has to be so hard on Josh. Derek's the one that left it out there. I think it's because Mark can intimidate Josh and he can't intimidate Derek.
I didn't realize it was Derek. Derek must have had a reason to put it out there.
Okay. So?
Get it disassembled, get it cleaned up, get it ready. Don't throw Josh under the bus next time.
I didn't throw anybody under the bus.
What was a nickname given to the legendary 426 Hemi engine? Was it elephant, rhino, mammoth? The answer coming up after the break. So what was the nickname given to the legendary 426 Hemi engine? The answer is Elephant. You know, I believe the nickname is accurate due to the engine's overall size, weight, and advertised 425 horsepower. Here at GYC, we even had to buy a new engine stand to put the engine on because this thing is such a beast.
Visit graveyardcars.com to learn more.
We finally found the convertible top mechanism for Kimberly's 70 Barracuda convertible. Derek did a beautiful job painting the engine compartment on the 70 Superbird. We can now go out and start doing the QC on the next 4 cars that are getting assembled and delivered at Graveyard Cars.
Wow. Try it, tough guy.
What are you talking to?
Try it sometime.
I didn't do anything.
Our 70 Superbird for Mike Hill is getting really close to paint work on it, so I want to go over it with the guys, go over the body inch by inch. I always have to sign off on a job before it gets painted.
So I want you to look at frame rails, floorboards, inner and outer aprons, upper and lower deck filler panels, inside the roof, cowl panel, inner cowl panel, firewall, outer deck extensions, rear body panel, rear balances, everything.
I got a spot.
That's Darren's forte. Finding something wrong with something, that's what he does. That's his milieu, if you will.
I'm good at this.
Our customer Mike and his son Michael brought us the Superbird a little less than 2 years ago. It was in dire straits. It had sat quite a while, I think since the mid-70s, in a field behind a guy's house next to another Superbird. The good news is it has the original motor in it. The transmission was not the numbers matching transmission, but the rest of the car is very original, very low mile. It just got parked and sat, so it had a lot of rust. And so where it's setting now is we've got the body work done, all the special work done that Creative Industries did originally around the back window plug. It's ready to start doing the paint work on it. This is another backstory. This is Mike and his son Michael, and they're coming out to drive that car back home on a father-son road trip. So, you know, I've got to make sure it's done because that's going to be an awfully lonely trip, or awfully boring trip in a cab versus in a Superbird.
So we're good. You actually found a couple things. Darren actually found a couple things that he didn't know about. So I mean, 8 sets of eyes, 10 sets of eyes, 20 sets of eyes. More people looking, the better it gets, right?
We've got Jim and Mitzi's 1972 Dodge Charger Rally. It was painted less ago than the Barracuda, but it's still been pushed around for a few weeks here, and that always runs the risk of getting something damaged. So again, with it, I want to check it for coverage, check it for fit, check it for finish, so that we can start bolting that car together as well. That's a cool little car. The main reason I brought it in was the backstory on it, but in its own right, I mean, it's got all the rally options on it, except it's running a 318 in it. And why? Because Jim wanted to be able to get 20 plus miles to the gallon out of it to take his family all over the country back in 1972 when he bought it. I mean, how many people still have the car that they bought brand new up the showroom floor? I think this is going to be a fantastic cruiser. We got all the metal work done. The only panel we had to replace was the roof skin. The rest was all just straightforward repair. The paint work is completely finished. It's wet sanded, it's buffed, it's in beautiful condition, it's ready for final assembly. All the panels passed my inspection for fit and for finish.
Now, did you get that? Brush touch your hinges.
I got brush touch on all this stuff. This is all just the stuff that happens when you assemble a car.
Yeah.
But that's what we're looking for. So good. All right, let's work on Cook's car.
The 70 Barracuda for the Cooks came to me a little less than 2 years ago. Tommy had called me up out of the blue. He shared the story with me. Kimberly's father had bought the car back in like '72. She grew up with the car. Unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years ago, and so he bequeathed it to her. It was important for me to make sure that the car was done right because of the story behind it, and we took the car in.
Look at here, get that just right. You can see them, it won't come out either. You see that?
Yeah. It was painted a couple of months ago, the little Barracuda convertible. I want to make sure that the paint still looks good. I want to make sure everything is aligned and ready to go together so we can start putting the trim, ornamentation, top, interior, motor, and transmission in that. The car is actually a very beautiful green. It's the F8 green. It's got a gorgeous look to it. Currently, we have all the body and paint work done, all the fit and all the finish. Everything is ready for assembly. We've got the engine over at the machine shop getting the final machine work done so I can assemble it here in the next couple of weeks. We're trying for late spring to be able to have this car back to the Cooks.
All in all, I'm pretty happy with how the cars are looking. Vast improvement in the last few years, and really they do look good. Nothing is perfect. A few little problems here or there, but nothing that can't be fixed with a buffer or whatnot.
So I'm good on this one. I think it's ready to go together. Any nicks and bruises it gets from here, they're gonna have to spot it in anyway. So let's go look at Mark and Elena's.
Mark and Elena's 70 CUDA, we call it Mark and Elena's because they're like frickin' frack. You never see them apart from each other. It's just all is one and one is all for that family. Probably 2 years ago, I got a call out of the blue from Elena, and that's his wife, called up and said she had seen us in a magazine and thought, well, it's worth calling because apparently her husband had a CUDA. As it turned out, he did have a CUDA for many, many years that had gone to another shop up in the Portland area where they just took advantage of him, took a lot of money from him, never worked on his car, left a bad taste in his mouth, almost broke his spirit. And that's when, as I had heard that story, again, it's a 383 automatic. It's not the rarest of the 70 CUDAs, but the backstory compelled me, let's get that car in here and let's do it right for him. Mark and Elena's little 70 CUDA is getting really close to the finish line. Most of the exterior is bolted together. Under the hood, we have nearly everything, but there's still a lot of little things. Is there anything we need for the car
You get wheels
that is
for it?
not
What
on
wheels
this
is
list?
putting on?
He is
Wheels
going
and
with a
tires?
Krager. Well, you like that. He's going actually with a Krager.
Oh, cool.
He's going with a 15.8 in the back, 15.7, 275 60R15s in the back, 245.
It's too big. One size down. He needs to put 235s. Look at laser car, you can see it.
He's lower in the car.
They're too wide for the wheel. The 245.
Laser's car is a road runner.
No, but the wheel and the tire are going to look the same. There's too much bow in a 245 on a 7-inch wheel. That's all I'm saying.
It's an 8-inch wheel.
Not in the front.
The front's going to be a 245.
It needs to be a 235. Mark Daly has made a very wise choice in his wheel selection. He's going to put Krager SS's on his car, which is a very nostalgic looking wheel. But when he told me the size of the tires versus the size of the wheels, I told Mark that the size of the tire was one size too big. You need to put a 235/60 on the front, because you put the 245 on a 7-inch wheel, it puts too much bow in the sidewall of tires and it doesn't look right. That's why Mark keeps me around, because I correct all of his mistakes when I know he's going to make a mistake. But I don't always know he's going to make a mistake, so I can't correct them all. We went through that on your side of the car before. We went through that before and changed the tires.
And what was in the rear?
275/60.
I mean, you can put
but you need to put a
whatever you want.
235.
What you're saying is it's got too much fat on the side
Yeah.
if it doesn't have it, so it needs to be a wider rim
Folds
or a
on
narrower
the
tire.
rim.
235 fits really good.
235
60.
on the tire. Okay. This is a great example of how Darren is the most annoying guy on the planet, but you almost have to stop and listen to him sometimes because not all of it is purely intended to wind me up. In the case of the wheels and tires, he's like Rain Man. Yeah, definitely 275, 60R15. Yeah, it's got to be a 225. It's got to go on a 7-inch reverse rim on a 5 on a 4.5 bolt pattern. Yeah, definitely, Judge Wapner. But the truth is, he's right. So in this particular case, Darren saved the day. He did call the ball, and that's one of the few times that he's really appreciated and needed around here. Unless I'm missing something.
Pinistar.
He hasn't put the fog lamps on.
Pinistar.
And the Pinistar. That's something that's easy to forget.
You got to adjust the front bumper, right? It's a little
Yeah,
low.
we need to adjust it, yep. Shortly, we'll have that car done this spring again. We got a busy schedule. We'll be handing them back their car. And of course, they're local, so we'll see them at all the car shows. Again, more extended family, the Dailies. I got a lot of family. We got it, guys.
Way to man up and not be jealous.
Now, can we go eat?
I'm jealous.
Are you eating again?
Yeah, maybe you should.
Oh, son of a... Hey, just thinking about you. What's up? Basically, at Graveyard Carz, we've kind of outgrown the spot. That's the bottom line. It needs to have the least an acre of parking. It needs to be already paved because I'm not doing that again. And the building's at least 15 has those offices, or at least offices that I can add on to for the production guys. We're at about 8,000 square feet. We're sitting on 1/3 of an acre. We outgrew that about a year ago. Cars are getting stacked around. It's like playing a grown-up version of Tetris. Got to move this car to get this car over and slide this one in. Send them to me tonight. I'll look at them, and then we'll set up a time tomorrow or shortly thereafter to get out and take a look at them. That was a friend of mine that's a realtor. He's looking for some property around town that might be a natural. If everything works out good, we might.
Next time on Graveyard Carz, we disassemble the 1969 General Lee Charger from the Dukes of Hazzard movie.
Cut it to the left, Darren!
Darren and I compete against Mark and Royal in a teardown race.
I'm being punished, and I have to work with Josh.
Mark and Royal check out a shop that could become the new home of Graveyard Carz. And things escalate to an all-new low.
I showed Mark both cheeks.
I just hope someone doesn't get hurt.
Coming up next time on Graveyard Carz.